Okay guys, welcome to today's video. We are going to take a look at a mock installation of Linux Mint 19.2, the Cinnamon Edition. I just have to get my Great Dane out of the wiring here. He's a sweet, affectionate boy, but he's giant. Anyway, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go download Linux Mint. So we'll head on over to the website and use DuckDuckGo to research it. Get away from Google. Just don't need problems associated with. Okay, so here we are at the Linux Mint website. Now they've got 3 editions in 19.2, and the one you want is Cinnamon because it is the one that looks like Windows the most. And the odds are you're going to grab the 64-bit version because if your machine is within the last few years, you're going to be a 64-bit processor, so that's the one. Right? Now, before you do any installation on this, any real installation on this, because we're going to show you how to do it on VirtualBox today, make sure you Google or DuckDuckGo your PC by model number and look for any issues that you may have with installing Linux. You probably won't, but it's always best to check first. Now, this is VirtualBox. They're at version 6.0, and what this allows you to do is to install it, and then you can just delete it, and it does not affect your current operating system, whether that be Windows or Mac. Right? So we're going to download this thing right here, which is already done because we already have VirtualBox installed. And when you go to install VirtualBox, just follow all the default settings and you will be just fine. Nothing to it. Not much different than installing anything else, really. It looks complicated, but it's really not. Now, there is an install here for in VirtualBox in which you've got to import Linux Mint. So you create a new instance here up in the left corner, and it will ask you for a name. Type in Linux Mint because then it will put you to the correct main distribution of Linux, which is Ubuntu. And then we will click through. You can take a lot of the defaults, but memory, give it at least 2 gig of RAM to work with. You'll have a lot better results with 2 gig than you will with others. It will run on 1 gig, but you're going to delete this when you're done probably anyway, because this is a mock install. So here we just go through this. Most of the settings are just fine. Right. You can pretty much take the defaults for most things here. We're going to give it some file space to work with. We're not going to be installing applications, so you don't need a whole lot, and then it's installed. Now, the next thing that you need to do, no, not yet, because we got to import it. We're going to go to the settings for that new install, right? And then first go to display and give it about 32 mega RAM video just to make sure that you've got some smooth scrolling and all that, and enable the acceleration down 3D if your system supports those. Now we go to storage, right, and go to one down to the empty part there where it has the disk. Right there it says empty, and then we are going to import the downloaded version of Linux Mint there. Right, click OK, and now we can start up the machine. And this will take a couple of seconds. VirtualBox smiles and does what it does best, right? Getting ready to load. You can see it's already grabbed a initial screening for Linux Mint. Start to go through. Now you're going to have some stuff that pops up. Don't click on anything right away. Just let it all load up first and kind of go from there, because you can end up having difficulty with your mouse if you click anything too soon that appears within the VirtualBox itself. And we'll give this a couple of seconds. It's not going to load up super fast because it expands, and now we've got the Linux Mint Live version loading up. Now this is kind of nice because you can, once it finishes loading up, pretty basically almost stop here and you can play with it live. However, since we're in a VirtualBox, we're just going to go and install it. Right? It will go through this setup process. It's all automated. Nothing you need to do. And we should be there any second now. Now, the time that this takes will vary depending on the speed of your machine. No worries either. I'm going to go to screen mode. On this particular laptop, this should not be an issue. Some it can be an issue. We wait. Now, we have popped into the Linux Live desktop here. Right? Now here, you could go to the Start menu down the bottom and get an idea of all the different things that are in it. And a lot of this stuff comes in the distribution itself, so you can actually load it up here to see what it all does. And provided your system is reasonably fast, you won't have any trouble with this. If you've got an older system, you may not be able to set aside enough memory for it, but we're not going to worry about it. We're going to go to install Linux Mint, and this is what you would be doing if you were about to erase everything. So we go to the install, excuse me, and off we go. Now we're doing this live. I'm not editing this stuff out, so this will take. So just here as we go. Okay. We ended up going through the first welcome screen. Choose language. The defaults will probably be accurate for you. Right? English keyboard. US keyboard is what most people will be using. Even in Great Britain, they tend to use it. Typically, it does tend to be US keyboard. Preparing to install Linux Mint. Do that, and you can see the install process is very straightforward. Nothing much to it. No, I don't think we'll bother with the third-party software at this point in time because we're just going to delete the instance when we're done anyway. We won't be using LibreOffice and all of those things. So doing that, erase the disk, yeah. You have to do that. You've got to wipe out your Windows installation when you do that. Now, of course, we're doing that in a VirtualBox, so nothing happens. And continue. This is why, before you do it, you need to back up your documents and important items. Now you got to pick your time zone. Now you can see we are not in the US. Here is actually a little bit off our time zone, but it'll do. You need to pick the correct time zone when you do the full install, because if you don't, you will have problems with updates. Make sure you pick your time zone. You got to come up with a name for your system. And then you're going to choose a very secret password to get you in, because you always have a logon with Linux. You cannot avoid it, because that logon gives you administrator access. There is no administrator account that is created. However, when administrative things need to be done, it will just ask for that password before you do it. This is one of the reasons that Linux Mint is so awesome. It is because it does not create a root account, and so it's very difficult for you to go in and do damage to the system. And that is also something that's very similar with Windows. Windows does not give you constant administrator privileges to be able to do things. That's for the best. Other versions of Linux create a root account first, and then you create a user account, because you do not want to operate in root. If you make a mistake in root, you could be starting all over again, because root is the most powerful position that you can have in an operating system. You can go into a root account and type delete asterisk dot asterisk and have nothing left of it. They can look intimidating. Are we at the restart here? Okay, so now installation is finished. We're going to have some flashing around here for a couple of seconds. So we actually will now be starting up. Back to the VirtualBox screen there for a second. And this won't take very long at all. You get an idea of just how fast the system will boot up. And this will be slow booting up compared to what it would be if this was a full install. Nothing like Windows. You're going to come to a screen that's going to look like it wants you to log on right here, but you don't need to log you on automatically. By the name you entered and take you to your account. Desktop. Now you do have to enter before you enter the desktop. You do have to enter your password in. Right. Now we are at a live Linux desktop. Shortly there will be a nag screen. This nag screen is important. One of the rare times that it's important. And here we go. You do want to go through these steps, right? You want to enable system snapshots. That's very similar as the recovery system in Windows. Right? It take a snapshot once a day. So if something goes wrong, you can restore it very easily. And then it will go through other things as well for you, setting up the firewall, your software manager, where your updates come from, all sorts of stuff like that. So read through that. It's all very straightforward. Do the things that it lets you know to do. Right? So we can close that down now because we're not that piece by piece. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments down below. I will get to them. Typically, I will look at these once a day to see what's going on. Also, remember to subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell. Otherwise, you probably won't know about anything we're doing here because the algorithms here at YouTube aren't going to show much of anything when it comes to this sort of thing because we're focusing on your security and, very importantly, your privacy. And that is something that is definitely in jeopardy today. Have a great day, guys. Thanks for watching.